Donald Trump's attack on the United States Supreme Court is backfiring in his face. Well, at the State of the Union, although the Midas Touch Network is holding our own People's State of the Union, which you should watch instead of the State of the Union, those Supreme Court justices are going to be sitting right there in front of him. And he rants and raves like a lunatic at the State of the Union. But setting that aside, this Trump regime has a lot of cases before the United States Supreme Court. And the way Donald Trump has been attacking the Supreme Court since their ruling blocking his tariffs against the world, he's accused them of being foreign agents. He said that they're despicable people whose children should hate them. He's went on to say a number of things like this. There's so many unprecedented things about this regime, but just the idea of attacking Supreme Court justices so personally. I've seen really bad people in cases where they're losing behave like this. This is how Trump behaved even before he was in politics. He would very personally go after judges. He would always get sanctioned, and a lot of things like that would happen to him. And in my career as a lawyer, I'd observe bad behavior of people who were in cases, or even lawyers who would go after the judges. It would never end good for them. Okay. And it would always be in the back of the judge's mind, at the end of the day, that there's really nothing you can do that's ever going to satisfy, this person when they behave in such ways. And let me show you what Donald Trump said. First, in his whiny, whatever shtick this was on Friday, he talked about how deeply disappointing the ruling is and how ashamed of members. I'm so ashamed for you. Here, play this clip.
The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country.
And I think what this also does, in terms of the backfiring, is, okay, you're ashamed of them. That's his tactic. At some point, you have to just directly say, so what? Who the hell cares? I'm ashamed of you as the president of the United States. You've brought shame to this country. And after all of the huffing and puffing, I'll blow your house down. I am ashamed for them, that they are a disgrace to our nation. Do you think that you're a disgrace to our nation? And in many cases, the Supreme Court actually has been a disgrace to our nation, but not this ruling, by empowering you with absolute immunity. But here's what Donald Trump said is they're a disgrace to our nation. Here, play this clip.
They're so happy. And they're dancing in the streets, but they won't be dancing for long. That I can assure you. The Democrats on the court are thrilled, but they will automatically vote no. They're an automatic no, just like in Congress. They're an automatic no. They're against anything that makes America strong, healthy, and great again. They also are a, frankly, disgrace to our nation, those justices. They're an automatic no, no matter how good a case you have. It's a no.
I just think about in other countries right now, Brazil. Their Supreme Court threw Jair Bolsonaro in prison for 27 years. In South Korea, their insurrectionist president, Jair Bolsonaro, was their insurrectionist president in Brazil. President Yoon, the insurrectionist president in South Korea, a life sentence in prison. You look at the UK right now, former Prince Andrew Mountbatten, he's now facing criminal charge. He's been stripped of his royal titles. Yet the Supreme Court of the United States gave this maniac, who you see right there, absolute freaking immunity. And what he says about them, because they followed the law very clearly in a non-difficult case when it comes to tariffs, which is clearly an Article 1, Section 8 power of Congress. It's so obvious. But Trump, you give him that inch, and that's not enough for him. You give him another inch, you give him absolute immunity, he still comes back and says to you, you're a disgrace. And here he is saying that the right-wing Supreme Court justices, Amy Coney Barrett and Gorsuch, are disgraces to their family. Here, play this clip.
At the same place. Yeah, please.
Justices Gorsuch and Barrett, are you surprised in particular by their decision today? And do you regret nominating them?
I don't want to say whether or not I regret. I think their decision was terrible. Yeah. I think it's an embarrassment to their families. You want to know the truth? The two of them. Yeah.
Embarrassment to their families. I mean, the guy says the craziest stuff. And finally, here he is responding to a question, because throughout the interview, he keeps on saying that that the Supreme Court was made to do this ruling by foreign governments or foreign entities, and that they're under the control of foreign influence. Here, play this clip.
Mr. President, you mentioned multiple times foreign influence over the Supreme Court. Do you have evidence of that? And if not, will you investigate that?
You're going to find out.
What alternatives are you going to?
You're going to find out. You're going to find out. Harry Lippman from the Talking Feds YouTube channel, Talking Feds Substack, and Talking Feds podcast. This is backfiring for a lot of reasons. Donald Trump's support is already crashing. We've seen with the Epstein files crashing. His attack on the Make America Healthy Again, whatever the hell that fraudulent RFK Jr. Thing was, PSYOP was, they're supporting pesticides and all of these things, the glyphosate and all this stuff. The way he's dealing with the economy. And then he goes, and this was my view, the worst week of his presidency. And then he goes out there and finds a way to make it worse. And that's what everybody's seeing. That's what people see, that demented behavior, Harry. And he's going to have to go in front of that court again, too. What do you make of it all, Harry?
Yeah, Ben, demented, honestly, is the word. We used to be talking when we were first seeing these indications of the madman in the White House about, DSM-5 and, paranoid, narcissistic syndrome and whatever. And then it just goes into